Okay, folks, it is 6:30, so I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is in front of us is the agenda for the public hearing to be held at 6:30, January 14th. For those in attendance here and online, be aware our meetings are recorded for public viewing and available on a public website. First, we will acknowledge that we are do the play work on the unceded First Nations land of Ihatasat Chiniki territory. I've already called the meeting to order, so if somebody will put the agenda.
Move to approve the agenda. I second it.
Perfect. Questions, comments, additions, nothing like that. Hearing nothing, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. So item 3 is the business arising from the minutes, which is the public hearing. So, as per the
Council do it for us or? No, just one.
So as per the notice that was sent out on January 3rd and then subsequently put in mailboxes, you folks are here for a public hearing. That's great. So I'd like to welcome everybody. The purpose of the hearing is to hear from the public. It's the words public hearing. and our responsibility is to listen. So the topic tonight is the proposed zoning bylaw for the village of Zeballos. So it's an opportunity for you to share your comments and concerns about that bylaw with council. And then I'll kind of explain how the hearing is going to go. So I'm going to outline the process, which I'm doing now. Then we'll hear from staff and then anyone who wishes to speak. So this hearing is the opportunity to provide comments directly to council. Our role is to listen to your input. This is not a question and answer period. This is an opportunity for public to speak and for us to hear. We will only discuss the merits of the bylaw during this meeting and the contents of, and I'm here to keep you on topic and on time so everybody has a chance to speak. Each speaker gets a maximum of 5 minutes to present comments. If time allows, then we can have a second and after everyone has had their first opportunity, we could provide a second, but only as time allows. So we're going to proceed with decorum and maintain respectful conduct. I would ask that you please reference the section of the bylaw that you're speaking to. You have it all in front of you. You all have an agenda in front of you. Perfect. So yeah, that will make it clearer for us when we're reviewing this. It will also make it clearer for people who are watching online and people that review it later. Let's see. I'm hoping that there's, as I talk about respectful conduct, that there's no cheering or jeering. I know we like to contribute when other people are talking, but we really want to give people the respect that they deserve. And so keep your comments to yourself until it's your turn. It can also be uncomfortable to speak at a public hearing and in front of people. So let's just make sure that we are all making sure everybody feels welcome and heard. We're all friends and neighbors here, so we're all in it together. What else? I think that is probably it. So if when we start the meeting after staff speaks, raise your hand, and then as I acknowledge you, I need you to state your full name and address for the record. Direct all comments to council as a whole, not as any individual. And keep in mind that information submitted will form part of the public record. We are in your agenda package. There is the purpose of the hearing, the time limit to remind yourself, the procedures. As I said, this is not a question and answer period. This is just for comments. The comments are focused on the bylaw, and that's why I said to reference the section that you're speaking to, and refrain from inappropriate language, personal attacks, irrelevant comments. I'll keep you on task. I will interrupt if you get off topic. And then written comments were submitted, and we aren't going to engage in discussion with you. This is just for us to hear public hearing. We also will not receive any public input after this date. So just so we're clear, when we're out talking on the street, this is the opportunity to speak about this bylaw. We're not talking about it outside of this meeting. So just so you know, we're all clear on it. Okay. Kevin Brooks is online. He is from Maquinna Limited. He is our consultant. If there's any clarity on technical information or anything like that, he is here. And then I will have our CAO. Is there anything new? Written submissions are available here on the table, so those can be seen. And then anything else that you need for public record?
No, thank you.
Okay, so we're going to open the floor to comments. If you wish to speak, raise your hand. Once I address you, state your name, address, and also keep it on to the topic. Sure.
So you're acknowledging?
Please.
Okay. My name is Douglas Ante. I live at 508 Reno Street. I do have a question. Was this document here available before I walked in here?
So also, this is not a question and answer period. That's not what it was for. This has been available for quite some time, online and here in the office.
Yeah.
And there was also a notice put in the mail. So that's the only question I'm going to answer people.
Okay, I never saw it, but that's me. A lot of you know quite a bit about me. I have a Bachelor of Education degree from UBC, and I carried on to work on my master's. What I did it in was urban geography. And the best part of that whole thing was watching how villages turn into towns and cities and that. And I compliment you, and that's what I'm here for, is to compliment you on this step forward right now. It's one of those steps in the growth of this place. And if you ever want a bit of advice, I got a knowledge of how things happen. I don't know if you'd ever be able to use that, but I could maybe give you advice from time to time. So what you're doing here is a growth thing. And this place started, let's say, with mining and then moved into logging and that. But I've been here 8 years and I've seen an explosion in how it's transforming. Tourism, I'd say, is one of the ways forward and that. But I just came tonight to listen and to compliment you on the way forward. And I've glanced through this and you're well on your way and well organized. And I commend all of you for what you've done here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Doug. And sorry, I'm reading from a script here, so how to move forward. Oh, is there anybody participating online? I forgot to mention that. There isn't. Okay. Amazing. Thank you for keeping that on time. And I know it was more of a general comment and nothing specific. So thank you for your input. We appreciate it. Anybody else like to speak? Name and address, and then.
Yep, my name's Judy Van Boven, 118 Maquinna Avenue. I have a couple statements on. I received this the same day I received my mail, which was January 8th, which doesn't give a lot of time for research. Number enforcement 5.1, every person who violates the bylaw, blah, 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 without noticing, without any notice before, there was a group of people, 2 people in particular in power, who came on my private property unannounced with Jennifer Wells condemning a project that I had already okayed by vocal, verbal confirmation when I moved here, April 2022. Number 6.1, I'm wondering why it's not the same, one as for all. We're under the same law, and yet my new neighbors are presently building without a permit, where that was one of the requirements that was put on me after I had my verbal agreement. On to 7.1, detached buildings and enclosed walls. My shelter is not a permanent building, has no concrete, has no septic, has no electrical, is for the purpose of taking my family and friends outside of the weather and enjoying a backyard. Number 7, building for family gatherings. It's my private property, shelter from the weather and communal visiting. And it is a building that is only a shelter. I'm gonna fly because a single dwelling, I have no permanent home added onto my property. I have a shelter and a shed. I need a firewood shed because I was told by the fire chief I can't have my burnables attached to my building. I have within my paperwork, which I also gave you forward, where my property was. I have the zoning of the property village mix that I was given when I purchased the property, which is now being told I can't. Forgot on the variety mix categories was cemetery, which I was allowed to build on my property, which was not included. I bought this April 5th, 2022. My village mix says residential uses, home-based businesses, tourist accommodations, healthcare facilities, plus 8 more. From that, I realized that I have not
Judy,
been
can I ask a question? Are these suggestions on what to change in this bylaw?
No, I'm telling you what is.
Okay, well, that's what we're looking for, is suggestions of what to.
Exactly,
what
I'm
to
getting
do
to
with-
that.
Okay, perfect.
I'm
Thank
getting
you.
there.
I'm
Thank
here to
you
keep you on
for the
time and on
notes,
task.
including capacity building of retail and commercial services. I came here with the idea of having a lot in the back where I could support people who are bringing boats, trailers, etc. I got my business license for catering, so people who are biking for tourism come off the boat. And at this present time, I've been shut down in every arena of my intention for why I bought this place, for the intention of my future, my retirement, and my resources for revenue. I produced a letter explaining this a little more, and if you have any comments or questions, I would love to hear about that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. We appreciate it. Thank you for keeping it under time as well. So. Okay, there's still no others online. So if I will ask if there's anyone else that wants to make comments on the content of the bylaw. And any opinions or suggestions that they have within the contents of this bylaw. So anybody else want to make any comment?
There's one comment I'd like.
Please stand up and state your name and your address.
Bob Berthelot, 206 Pandora. And I'm looking at the penalties or whatever bylaws are. And I'm a little on it. It says that every day it's a new bylaw you're breaking, the way it looks like to me. It says what you'll get a fine, and if the next day it's like a new fine again, something like that.
Can you reference the section for me? Which one?
And I was thinking, with the comment, I think that's a little, like if you break any bylaw, you're gonna be charged. That sounds fair. But every day to go by, it's like it's a new charge all over again. That doesn't sound right to me at all. You should have one charge, you just dealt with, and that's the end of it. not how long it takes, and every day is considered a new charge. That doesn't make any sense to me. I commit a crime. You charge me for that crime that time, and that's it. Not every day. I've done it every day, just because it happens to be a situation. Things need to be resolved, and that's no resolve. Okay, that's it.
Thank you very much for your comments. Oh, we have a staff member that wanted to chime in online. So Kevin Brooks, who is with Maquinna Limited, which is our consultant, who has walked through this process with us, and the zoning bylaw is just a part of our OCP that we've passed as well. So Kevin Brooks, would you, for clarification, I'm thinking?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Thank you for that comment. That's a very astute comment that the individual provided. The language under 1.6 penalties in the actual zoning bylaw is standard legal language. Each day that a violation or infraction exists or is permitted to exist shall constitute a separate offense, is the clause that the individual is speaking to. This is standard language that enables the village to actually enforce aspects of various bylaws. If you look at any regulatory bylaw, you'll find under the penalty section the same legal language. It is a legal language that is recommended to allow the village to actually proceed to enforcement. It's very rare that the village would ever have to utilize that authority, but it is there to enable enforcement of the bylaw for those situations that someone will not come into compliance. So yeah, thank you for that comment. That does help to allow for some clarity and some of the struggles that the village does deal with regards to enforcement in some situations, and it just provides that authority to allow the village to do so if necessary.
Thank you for clarification. Point there. We appreciate your input. So I'm going to ask if there's any other comments about the bylaw itself and what its contents. And so that was, having heard from speakers, there will be a second opportunity to speak if there's anybody wanting to speak. And hearing none, this is the third and final opportunity to speak on the bylaw. And that is it. So thank you to everyone who spoke, who came, who provided feedback, who was looking for clarification. Your input is important and is important for shaping the future and the growth of this village. I will remind you that what I said at the beginning of the meeting is that this is when you were to provide public input. So we will not be accepting any public input on this subject after this date. What would happen is if we made any substantive changes in our council conversations about this bylaw, then we would have to come back and do another public hearing to get more information from people if we made any significant changes to it in our contemplation of passing the bylaw. So this will go through first, second reading at one shot.
We've had
First reading is done.
yeah, so next will be second reading.
And then we have opportunity to change it until we're done third reading.
Correct.
Once we've done third reading, then it doesn't change unless we amend the bylaw. So that's how that works. And then we'll do final and adoption at a subsequent meeting. So yeah, thank you for coming. This is a much bigger crowd than when we did the official community plan public hearing, which it's great that people are excited and involved and want to say their piece. And so thank you for coming. And this is the conclusion. Council will not be making a decision on the zoning bylaw tonight. A decision will be made at a future council meeting, and that will be publicly announced. Look for updates if you're online on the Village of Zeballos website page, our Facebook page. Things are always available there. If you look there, our agendas are there, and they're also available here in the office. So, This meeting's now adjourned. Thanks so much, everybody. Really appreciate it.